So before we begin, I'd like for us to go over some virtual house rules, or in this case, Zoom rules, so we can all find our way around this virtual space where we are holding today's event. And to start with, I'd like to encourage us all to make use of the chat function that is right at the bottom of your screen for engagement with panelists and speakers as well. Our monitors will be interacting with you in the course of this event to respond to any questions that you might have, any specific questions you might have regarding this event. And we'd also like for you to mute your microphones and also turn off your video in case you are not speaking, just to avoid the interruptions that might come up from time to time when we do not mute our microphones. And also would like to remind you that because not everybody on the African continent uses English as their main language, we've got 3 options for you to use, that is English, French, and Portuguese. Now, for you to be able to access or pick an option, you have to go down to the bottom right of your screen and click Interpretation. Click the option that you would like to use for this particular event. Is it English? Is it French, or is it Portuguese? And then when you do that, please do not forget to mute your original sound so that you're able to listen in that particular language of choice. And I would also like for us to remind our speakers that we are going to have a maximum of 5 minutes for each speaker. So just in case you are one of the speakers, please, let's respect the time that we are allocated so we do not exceed our time allocations for today. Otherwise, thank you very much. I guess we can now begin. Honorable ministers, representatives of ministers and officials, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the launch of the Oliver Reginald Tambo Africa Research Chairs Initiative that is taking place today. My name is Joy Doreen Vera. I'm a media personality and a strategic communicator. And it's an honor being your moderator for the day. It's such an incredible initiative that is being launched today that aims to honor a leading figure, not just in South Africa, but across the African continent. And, you know, he is one of the African heroes who fronted the development of African unity and also for initiatives that contribute to knowledge contribution and production and high-end skills while having a catalytic impact of research infrastructure across the African continent. And that's pretty much our focus. Today being the 27th of October 2020, this would have been O.R. Tambo's 103rd birthday. And while he did not live to see the impeccable work that he's done and that he left behind, in honor of him, it gives me such joy that his legacy continues to live on through the very beliefs, principles, as well as ideologies he stood for that were equality, dignity, among other aspects. Now, today's event is organized by the Oliver and Adelaide Tambo Foundation in partnership with South Africa's National Research Foundation, NRF, and the Department of Science and Innovation in South Africa, as well as Canada's International Development Research Centre, to develop the O.R. Tambo Africa Research Chairs Initiative, which was first announced in 2017 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of the birth of Oliver Reginald Tambo. And today, that initiative stands ready to be launched with the inaugural 10 O.R. Tambo Africa Research Chairs from 10 host institutions, which is why you and I have convened here today. And well, in just a moment, we're going to know what the specific roles of the chairs are going to be. But before that, I would now like to invite our very first speaker who is going to set the pace for us as we start and kick off this event. And that's none other than Dr. Molapo Kobela, who is the Chief Executive Officer at the National Research Foundation South Africa, to make his opening remarks. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome, Dr. Malapo.
Thank you, Joy. I hope I can be seen.
I can't see you though, but I think you can be seen.
I hope I can be seen. If not seen, at least I can be heard.
You can be heard, but we're not seeing you yet.
Not yet. No, they will switch me on. But in the interest of time, Joy, let me start. Really start by acknowledging the presence of the Honorable Minister, Dr. B. Nzimande, our Minister of Higher Education, Science and Technology in South Africa. The Honorable Professor K. Fimpong Boateng, the Minister of Environment, Science and Technology and Innovation, the Republic of Ghana. Honorable Dr. B. Mushimba, the Minister of Higher Education of Zambia. The Honorable Dr. D. Lishwa Latebe, the Minister of Tertiary Education, Research and Science and Technology of Botswana. The Honorable Dr. E. Temwe Singwe, the Minister of Science, Technology and Innovation of Uganda, and Dr. L.D. Akilapo, the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Education, Science and Technology of Tanzania, Dr. N. Mkwitade, the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Science and Technology and Higher Education and Technical and Vocational Education of Mozambique. Dr. P. Mdracha, the Director General of Department of Science and Innovation in South Africa. Esteemed senior representatives, officials of ministries, my colleagues, the heads of science granting councils in Botswana, Burkina Faso, Cote d'Ivoire, Ethiopia, Ghana, Kenya, Malawi, Mozambique, Namibia, Rwanda, Senegal, Uganda, Tanzania, Zambia, and Zimbabwe. Half the continent is here this afternoon. My colleague and partner.
Malapo, I'd like to interrupt you for just a minute. Is it possible for you to move your cursor down to the second icon on your left? There's one for audio and then there's one for video. If you could just tap the video one so we are able to see you.
Now you can see me.
Yes. Oh, thank God. Now we can see you.
Thank you. Thank you, Joy, for letting the light. Our partners, Ms. Zengeziwe Msimang, the Chief Executive of the Oliver and Adelaide Tambo Foundation, Dr. John Lebel, the President of the IDRC of Canada, dear friends, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the heads of the research councils of the SGCI, it really is my distinct pleasure to welcome you to this auspicious occasion this afternoon. 2 years ago, we embarked on a journey to bring life to the OR Tambo Africa Research Chairs Initiative, first announced during South Africa's Science Forum in December of 2017. Today is a very special occasion for all of us as we gather here to celebrate the 10 host institutions and the 10 individual research chairholders awarded in the inaugural OR Tambo Africa Research Chairs. We are honoring and celebrating the legacy of an esteemed leader, a principled person, a visionary who envisaged a developed, peaceful, prosperous continent, the late Utata Reginald Tambo, who would have celebrated his 103rd birthday today. In the last 2 years, we have been guided by OR Tambo's legacy in our journey to establish these chairs. In solidarity with the science granting councils that I have mentioned that participate in the SGCI initiative, we have jointly engaged in the process of conceptualizing these chairs, in disseminating the information to the national systems to enable applications, to reviewing and evaluating these applications, in making decisions on who the eventual hosts and individual research holders would be, and lastly, in undertaking the necessary due diligence. We will continue to work the journey together as the SGCI family in co-funding these chairs, in ensuring an enabling environment for the chairs to thrive and to monitor and evaluate the implementation of this initiative. I wish to use this opportunity to pay tribute to the SGCI family for the hard work, the leadership, and true partnership that we have all shown during this process. In the same breath, I would like to congratulate our brothers and sisters in the SGCI family, particularly in Botswana, in Burkina Faso, in Ghana, Mozambique, Tanzania, Uganda, and Zambia, being the countries where these inaugural chairs will be hosted. The SGCI has enabled us as African public funding agencies to partner with each other in a way that was not possible previously. It has enabled us to engage in deep peer learning initiatives to strengthen our organization's ability to serve our national systems more effectively and more efficiently. It has enabled us to also imagine collectively how we can respond for the call for societal transformation as envisaged in the African Union's Agenda 2063 and STISA 2024. Ministers, true partnership must always be funded on mutual trust and respect. This was at the center of this initiative. First, the IDRC, today represented by its president, Dr. John Lebel, has been a steadfast partner, working with us to co-design, co-implement major continental initiatives, including the SGI. We are truly appreciative and applaud their visionary leadership and support in making this OR Tambo Africa Chairs initiative a reality. Secondly, the Oliver and Adelaide Tambo Foundation, under the board leadership of Mr. Duma Nkosi and the CEO, Zengeziwe Msimang, thank you. Thank you again for allowing us to honor and celebrate Utata Tambo in this way, amplifying his passion for the development of our continent. And finally, our Department of Science and Innovation, Minister Nzimande, your unfaltering support for Pan-African unity has allowed us to realize the dream of establishing these research chairs on the continent. We look forward to the addresses today and working together to continue to implement the OR Tambo Africa Research Chairs Initiative as an initiative that advances Africa solidarity and research excellence for the benefit of all the people of the continent. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Molapo Obela, who is the Chief Executive Officer of the National Research Foundation in South Africa. Now, OR Tambo was an anti-apartheid politician, but he was also a mathematics and science genius. That is one of the facts that some of us around the African continent might not know. But let's have a look at the life of OR Tambo for just a brief moment to give you a perspective of who this hero, this great man was.
South Africa started coming out, the regime started coming out to attack what they called ANC bases outside. This was a new level.
The states of Southern Africa must realize that what they can do to us, we can do to them. Only much more efficiently and effectively.
They attacked Mozambique, Maputo, Matola raids. They would kidnap people in the frontline states, and they even went to war in Angola.
They bombed infrastructure, bridges, railway bridges, road bridges. They bombed petrol storage tanks. And of course, one day, about 11 on Saturday morning, we heard bombs, brew, 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 brew. The greatest shock of my life. There were 600 people dead. But that is the price we had to pay.
So they risked their national independence, they risked their sovereignty, they risked their economy, they risked actually their whole future by fighting apartheid. Very few situations in history where you've seen so many poor countries who just come out into freedom and then throw their lot in with a liberation struggle.
A great man indeed, who fought for equality and dignity. And in his honor, in 2011, the OR Tambo Foundation, or the Oliver and Adelaide Tambo Foundation, was established in his honor and continues to preserve the legacies of Oliver and Adelaide Tambo. Let me now invite the Chief Executive Officer of the Foundation, Ms. Zengetiwe Msimang, to share more on the Tambo legacy. Welcome.
Thank you so much. Honorable Minister Nzimande, Honorable Minister Frimpong Boateng, Honorable Minister Mushimba, and all of the ministers present, Professor Mdo, Dr. Q, Dr. Lebel, heads of host institutions and science granting councils, and of course, our individual chairholders. It is my absolute pleasure to be here today at this auspicious event. In my role as CEO of the Oliver and Adelaide Tambo Foundation, I've had the pleasure of being part of a number of activities and programs that seek to memorialize and honor one of the greatest sons that South African soil has produced, the freedom fighter, statesman, and modest revolutionary, Oliver Reginald Tambo. Having spent the last 2 years being privileged enough to be part of this initiative, I can unequivocally say that this project is one that would make Tambo beam from ear to ear and swell with pride. You see, this project brings together so very many of Tambo's greatest passions and serves to address some of what were his greatest concerns. In launching our esteemed host institutions and individual chairs today, we are highlighting the importance that Tambo placed on Pan-Africanism. We are highlighting the importance that he placed on education. We are highlighting his passion for science, innovation, and technology. And last but not least, we are highlighting Tambo's inherent belief in the potential of Africans to find African solutions to global problems.
Apologies, Zengi. Can you please switch your interpretation to English? Because people can't hear you. And if you can start from beginning, apologies for that.
It's fine. There we go.
I think you might have to take it from the top. Because,
might I have to, not a problem.
Okay, great.
Honorable Minister Nzimande, Honorable Minister Frimpong Boateng, Honorable Minister Mushimba, and all ministers present, Professor Mdo, Dr. Q, Dr. Lebel, heads of host institutions and science granting councils, and of course, our individual chairholders. It is my absolute pleasure to be here today at this auspicious event. In my role as CEO of the Oliver and Adelaide Tambo Foundation, I have had the pleasure of being part of a number of activities and programs that seek to memorialize and honor one of the greatest sons that South African soil has ever produced, the freedom fighter, statesman, and modest revolutionary, Oliver Reginald Tambo. Having spent the last 2 years being privileged enough to be part of this initiative, I can unequivocally say that this project is one that would make Tambo beam from ear to ear and swell with pride. You see, this project brings together so very many of Tambo's greatest passions, and it also addresses some of what were his greatest concerns. In launching our esteemed host institutions and individual chairs today, we are highlighting the importance that Tambo placed on Pan-Africanism. We are highlighting the importance that he placed on education. We are highlighting his passion for science, innovation, and technology. And last but not least, we are highlighting Tambo's inherent belief in the potential of Africans to find African solutions to global problems. Tambo loved this continent. To the north, to the south, the east, and the west of this resplendent place, Tambo found the allies that he needed to help South Africa overcome apartheid. Famed for our minerals, our lush lands, vast lakes, and majestic hills, Tambo understood that our greatest asset by far are the people of this continent. It is the people of this continent that Ambassador Abdul Minty so articulately spelt out in this video, risked their lives for us, risked their independence, risked their sovereignty, and they risked their entire economies to fight apartheid. The chairs that we are announcing today hail from many of the countries whose leaders, in solidarity with Tambo and the South African liberation struggle, placed themselves in the front line. The brand of Pan-Africanism that was cultivated by leaders such as Nyerere, KK, Machel, Nkrumah, Sankara, and Tambo, to mention but a few, during our long struggle against colonialism and oppression, continues today through this important initiative, where our forebearers fought for equality, dignity, and franchise. Our battle, though just as imperative, looks at very different today. Today, the fight is for equal access to education. Today, we fight for gender equality and mainstreaming in the sciences. Today, we fight for poverty alleviation and for food security. These and many, many more are the battles that must be fought and won in the interest of our continent. This initiative takes the baton directly from Tambo's generation of freedom fighters by enabling a new generation to do what apartheid and colonialism prevented our parents and our grandparents from doing. Tambo himself was no exception. Were it not for the cruel and inhumane system of subjugation that believed that every person of color was a hewer of wood and a drawer of water, the chances are extremely high that Tambo would have been a premier scientist or perhaps a world-class inventor. He was the first of 2 Black students to obtain a first-class pass in the junior certificate examinations in 1936. He went on to Fort Hare, where he obtained his Bachelor of Science. It was while he was enrolled to do his diploma in higher education that he was expelled. His crime was being actively involved in student protests against the ill treatment of Black workers at the Fort Hare campus. After his expulsion, Tambo went back to his alma mater, St. Peter's School, where the principal, Father Trevor Huddleston, gave him a job teaching math and science. As we celebrate his birthday today, 30 years after he returned home from exile and 26 years since he passed away, the fact that there is an initiative of this caliber that focuses on African research excellence and innovation is truly admirable. This is partly due to the fact that the world that Tambo worked so hard to leave behind for us is one that is vastly improved from the one that he entered in the small village of Nkantolo, Eastern Cape, 130 years ago today. And for that, to him, much is owed. In the 2 years since we launched this initiative, there are a number of organizations and individuals that have worked tirelessly. I would like to therefore take this opportunity to thank the Department of Science and Innovation, the National Research Foundation, the IDRC, the 7 participating science granting councils in sub-Saharan Africa, and all the host institutions that have made this dream a reality. The Tambo Foundation so look forward to the incredible research that the chairholders will generate, which will help us achieve a better Africa for those that come after us. A wise woman once said, legacy is not leaving something for people. It is leaving something in people. All the organizations I have mentioned have assisted the foundation to implement our mandate of promoting, preserving, and protecting the legacies of Oliver and Adelaide Tambo. Again, you have helped us to pass the baton to a new generation of young people who can learn from Tambo's principled stance and commitment to ethical leadership, to integrity, and to accountability. But perhaps Most importantly, today's launch will ensure that Tambo's legacy is not only found in history books, but that it lives and it breathes in each and every one of our chairholders. For a better birthday present, I do not think he could have asked. On behalf of the chairperson of the foundation and the board and the Tambo family, I thank you.
Legacy is not leaving something for people, it's leaving something in people. Thank you, Ms. Zengeziwe Msimang, who is the Chief Executive of the Oliver and Adelaide Tambo Foundation. Many thanks. Now, on to our ministerial address for the day. He was appointed Minister of Higher Education, Science and Technology on the 30th of May 2019, and he is a General Secretary of the South African Communist Party. He's the chairperson of the Parliamentary Select Committee on Education and the Deputy Chair of the Central Committee of the South African Communist Party. And he's also the chairperson of the Financial Sector Campaign Coalition and holds a doctorate in philosophy, specializing in sociology from the University of Natal, and is an author of Schooling in the Context of Violence in South Africa, The Challenges of Change. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Honorable Dr. Blade Nzimande, who is the Minister of Higher Education, Science and Innovation in South Africa.
Thank you very much, Program Director. And let me start by greeting my honorable colleagues, the ministers who are participating here and in this program, as well as their representatives, especially Botswana, Burkina Faso, Ghana, Mozambique, Tanzania, Uganda, and Zambia. Let me also greet senior representatives and officials of ministries and heads of science granting councils in the participating countries in our continent. Dr. Philip Joacha, the Director General of the Department of Science and Innovation in South Africa, the CEO of the Oliver and Adelaide Tambo Foundation, Ms. Zengeziwe Msimang, President of the International Development Research Center of Canada, Dr. Jean Lebel, board members of the National Research Foundation and the CEO of South Africa's National Research Foundation, Dr. Kobela. Ladies and gentlemen, today is indeed a privilege for me to join you as we reflect on the lasting legacy of Oliver Reginald Tambo, a man who fought fervently for the liberation of our country, and to launch the OR Tambo Africa Research Chairs Initiative, one of the many ways in which the South African government, including our Department of Science and Innovation, continues to honor and acknowledge the contributions of Oliver Tambo to our democracy, and conversely, to honor the role of our continent in the liberation of South Africa. Allow me to briefly reflect on the values and beliefs espoused by Oliver Tambo. As it has been pointed out, Oliver Tambo was an educator, a prolific and influential leader, and an internationalist who understood that building strong bonds of solidarity with other nations was imperative, not only to ensure the liberation of South Africa, but to ensure the liberation of Africa and the world. Throughout his career, Oliver Tambo demonstrated the importance of hard work, passion, excellence, and belief in the power to change one's circumstances. This included ensuring access to world-class research facilities, which we believe in as South Africa through this initiative also, investing in blue skies research, and supporting the nurturing of young and emerging researchers so that they can harness and develop their talents accordingly. Long before Oliver Tambo was an anti-apartheid politician, revolutionary, and president of the African National Congress, he was an African child who was also deprived of opportunities, as was the case in all colonial and apartheid contexts. But he defied those odds, went on to become educated, and became an educator himself. Following the Sharpeville massacre in South Africa on the 21st of March 1960, Oliver Tambo was asked by the African National Congress to embark on a mission in exile to gain international support for the South African liberation movement. In this, he forged very key partnerships in the struggle against apartheid and played a vital role in building what perhaps would go down as one of the most formidable movements for justice in the world, the anti-apartheid movement. The science and education systems in South Africa have undergone radical transformation since Tambo was a student. Investing in strategic programs which synergistically seek to develop research groups, train a cadre of next generation and emerging researchers, and build individual researchers' career trajectories is one of the innovative mechanisms that Africa must harness to contribute simultaneously to research excellence and human capital development. As exemplified through Tambo's leadership, strong partnerships are vital. Many of you may recall that a new strand of research chairs in South Africa, with a clear and inclusive focus on the African continent, was announced by my predecessor, Minister Pandor, during the 2017 Science Forum South Africa. Over the past 2 years, as we have heard from the CEO of the National Research Foundation, significant milestones have been reached, enabling us to move beyond just the South African research chairs and to implement now what Minister Pandor announced then, the Oliver Tambo Research Chairs in the African continent. The OR Tambo Africa Research Chairs initiative seeks to further catalyze a collective approach to quality improvement and enhancement of the knowledge endeavor on the African continent. These are the ideals that OR Tambo had in mind for African unity. We would also like to show our appreciation to the Oliver and Adelaide Tambo Foundation and the Tambo family for lending us his name for this initiative, which is driven by a deep belief of inclusivity and the desire to champion scientific excellence on our beloved continent. The OR Tambo Africa Research Chairs combine political, development, and higher education objectives, and they aim to honor a leading figure in African unity. The OR Tambo Africa Research Chairs Initiative is enabled through a partnership-based approach and in collaboration with organizations who share our ideals and goals. To move forward, we must build on our successes. In South Africa, the OR Tambo Chairs complement the successful Department of Science and Innovation, National Research Foundation, South Africa Chairs Research Initiative, which was established in 2006 as a strategic intervention to attract and retain research excellence and innovation within South Africa's universities. I'm pleased to say that since the inception of this program in South Africa, 240 such research chairs has been set up, including through international, bilateral, and trilateral partnerships. Fittingly, we are also able to make this announcement today during South Africa's current chairing of the African Union, during which our president has consistently worked to advance intra-African cooperation and solidarity, notably in the face of the COVID-19 pandemic. This to us built on the leadership role that our President Cyril Ramaphosa has been given on the continent. Indeed, these research chairs named after our late leader Oliver Tambo will also remain a proud legacy of South Africa's chairing of the African Union, and agreeing with Ms. Msimang's definition, of course, of a legacy, that leaving a legacy, you don't leave a legacy for people, but you leave a legacy in people. It gives me great pleasure, therefore, to officially announce the inaugural 10 host institutions of this prominent program by the National Research Foundation, the Tambo Foundation, and the IDRC. The names of the 10 chairs holders will be announced in the video presentation following my address. But the institutions is the Botswana International University of Science and Technology, Eduardo Mondlane University in Mozambique, Université Joseph Kizerbo, Burkina Faso, University of Ghana, Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology in Ghana, Sokoine University of Agriculture in Tanzania, Makerere University in Uganda, Copperbelt University in Zambia, University of Zambia, and the Nelson Mandela African Institution of Science and Technology in Tanzania. I would also like to congratulate the 10 individual research chairholders who will undertake research in the areas of climate change, health sciences, food security, humanities and social sciences, environment and development, water research, and nanotechnology. I'm pleased then to say, Chairperson and honorable colleagues and all other distinguished participants, you now have a mandate to use your scientific expertise and the prominence of this initiative to truly contribute to the Africa we want, the Africa that Oliver Tambo fought for. And with this, I wish you all the best, and you can count on our full support for this crucial mission. Thank you, esteemed guests, for your attention.
Thank you very much, Dr. Blade Nzimande, the Minister for Higher Education, Science and Innovation in South Africa. And on that note, it is time to introduce our chairholders to you. And we are now, just like the Minister said, they are nanoscientists. Some of them are investigators, and others agriculture scientists, technology researchers, geologists, and ecosystem experts. Let's get to know them, our inaugural chairs from 10 host institutions in 7 African countries.
I'm Olga Lompo, professor at the University Joseph Kizerbo, principal investigator of the OR Tambo Africa Research Chair in Research and Action Against Cancer.
I'm Samira Touredrago, a research associate at the University Joseph Kizerbo, a CIHR Health System Impact Fellow and co-investigator of our research chair. Our research chair seeks to respond to Burkina Faso's national research priorities related to non-communicable disease, especially cancer.
Our research chair outcomes will contribute to the science, technology, and innovation strategy for Africa 2024, which to achieve prevention and control of disease in the continent.
My name is Ferbo Kwesi Salia from the University of Ghana. I'll be working with a multidisciplinary team to develop innovations to enhance food safety, improve food quality, and minimize post-harvest losses and waste in the Ghanaian food delivery system. The development of efficient agro-processing industries will significantly impact the industrial transformation of a largely agriculture-based economy, improve value addition to agricultural produce, and create avenues for employment.
I am Professor Nathaniel Boso from Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology in Ghana. Ghana and Africa face a major development challenge of rising youth unemployment, with 60% of African youth be either unemployed or underemployed. And so my role on the OR Tambo African Research Chair is to lead a team to explore how technology entrepreneurship can play a role in reducing youth unemployment in Africa. This we will do through locally relevant research, postgraduate programs, and engagement with relevant stakeholders across Africa.
My name is Guzamung Susudu. I'm a professor at the Department of Earth and Environmental Science of Botswana International University of Science and Technology. The goal of the OR Tambo Africa Research Chair in Climate Change and Adaptation is to empower Botswana and collaborating countries by providing solid scientific data and knowledge on water, livestock, vegetation resources, and climate exchange, their impact on these resources.
I'm Almeida Sitoy, Chairholder of the Oliver Tambo Research Chair in Ecosystem Service in Arid and Semi-Arid Zones at the Dortmundian University in Mozambique. The focus of this research is to explore the potential of ecosystem-based adaptation strategies to reduce vulnerability at community level. This research chair will contribute to build the critical mass for research in social ecological interactions, strengthen collaboration among African universities, and support decision-making in more than 40 African countries where more than 400 million people live today.
I'm Nobo Banada from Makerere University in Uganda. I'm contributing towards matchmaking for nutrient recovery in sustainable agriculture, bioconversion technologies, developing them for the African farmers, developing inexpensive technologies from waste for water treatment in Africa. I'm contributing towards aspiration number 1 for the Agenda 2063, which favors good stewardship of resources to develop agriculture. And for STISA 2024, I'm contributing towards developing a cadre of researchers that can improve agriculture on the African continent.
I'm Professor Stephen Siampunga, based at Copperbelt University in Zambia. The region has a mining history of 400 years. This has actually resulted into a number of challenges. The chair, therefore, wants to develop ecological models for restoration of mining genetic wasteland so as to reduce on the impact of heavy metals on the environment.
Greetings. My name is Professor Imasiku Anayawanyambe, Professor of Geology and the Coordinator for the University of Zambia Integrated Water Resource Management Center. The water conservation research theme, therefore, will contribute knowledge on available water for the sectors. The research wishes to harness the water resources as a basic necessity of life, people-centered growth and development as Africa Agenda 2063 seeks to achieve. On Africa 2024 strategy, the research would contribute to enhancing professional and technical competences, entrepreneurship and innovation, and provide enabling environment for science, technology, and innovation.
My name is Gerard Misinzo, a veterinary virologist at the Sokoine University of Agriculture and leader of the SACID's Africa Center of Excellence for Infectious Diseases. My Oriva R. Tambo Africa Research Chair focuses on viral epidemics of short-cycle animal stocks. Short-cycle animal stocks include sheep, goats, domestic pigs, poultry, and fish, which are uniquely important to household food security and nutrition, household income security, and economically empowering for women, especially in rural households in much of tropical Africa. Improving livestock health will lead to poverty alleviation, zero hunger, good health and well-being, and reduced gender and community inequalities. And that's the Africa we want.
My name is Professor Hulda Shaidi Swai. I'm a professor in nanoscience here in Nelson Mandela Institute of Science and Technology, Arusha in Tanzania. My main aim of this research is to use nanotechnology to develop new anti-malaria drugs using the potent herbal extract as well as the existing malaria drugs which has poor bioavailability.
All right, and congratulations to all the chairholders, and we wish you nothing but the best in your respective roles for the duration that your tenure allows. We'd now like to hear from our ministers from select countries across Africa on the value of investing in research and innovation excellence in Africa. But before we even introduce them or get into that conversation, I would like to remind us, all participants, attendees, and panelists as well, that you should choose a language that you are most comfortable in. We've got 3 options: English, French, and Portuguese. And in order for you to get the right interpretation, you're going to have to go to the bottom right of your screen. There is an icon there that reads interpretation, and you'll be able to see the options right up there. If you click on there, you can choose English, French, or Portuguese. And after you do that, kindly disable your original sound. That's how you're going to be able to hear each and every one of the speakers, or at least understand and follow the conversation as we proceed. And, once again, congratulations to all the chairholders from wherever it is that you are located in the different African countries, the different countries across the African continent, Burkina Faso, Ghana, Botswana, Mozambique, Uganda, Zambia, as well as Tanzania. We really are rooting for you and wishing you the best in all of your research. Now, to introduce my panel, who are honorable ministers from select African countries. On the panel, I have Honorable Dr. Blade Nzimande, the Minister for Higher Education, Science and Innovation in South Africa, who is joining me on the panel, and I had already introduced him. Also, we have Professor Kwabena Frimpong Boateng, who is currently the Minister for Environment, Science, Technology and Innovation in Ghana. He is a Ghanaian physician and a cardiothoracic surgeon who established the National Cardiothoracic Center. And also he founded the Ghana Red Cross Society. He's also the president of the Ghana Heart Foundation, and he's joining me on the panel as well. Professor James Mdoe, who is the Deputy Permanent Secretary, Science, Technology and Higher Education at the Ministry of Education, Science and Technology and Vocational Training in Tanzania. And he actually also was an associate professor of chemistry at the University of Dar es Salaam in Tanzania, specializing in nanomaterial catalysis and green chemistry technology. Quite a very broad profile there. And we also have Honorable Engineer Dr. Brian Mushimba, who is Zambia's Minister for Higher Education, a seasoned American-trained engineer currently serving in the cabinet of the Zambian government. And before joining public service in 2016, he studied, graduated, and practiced engineering in the United States, Europe, and around Africa, with increasing responsibilities to become a regional director and a CEO in the electricity sector. A warm welcome to all of you distinguished guests who also form my panel. And we want to have a conversation about investing in research on the African continent, research and innovation excellence across Africa. So I'm going to start with Honorable Dr. Blade Nzimande. What do governments see as the most crucial role of research chairs within their own jurisdictions? And by jurisdictions, I mean the science systems. How do they connect to the many other science and innovation initiatives?
Thank you very much, Program Director. And again, let me greet my colleagues. I'd just like to say that, for us as South Africa, most crucially, we see this initiative as building on existing networks, in the continent. It's not just a separate and standalone thing, it must contribute. We see this contributing, particularly in building what we strongly believe in, the institutional capacity for research and development and science and innovation in the African continent. And that is why also we are very pleased that we are also partnering, for instance, with the Canadian International Development Research Center, as well as institutions from the UK, Germany, and Sweden. And we are particularly honored about the participation of the president of the IDRC in Canada. So for us, this is very important because without institutional capacity for science and for research and development, we are not going to make much progress. I need to conclude maybe by saying that if anything, COVID-19 has actually underlined the importance of building strong institutional capacity in our continent, as well as under other pandemics, that underline the importance of Africa developing its own capacity. Thank you.
Great. Thank you for that, Honorable Minister. And of course, you do emphasize the lessons that the COVID-19 pandemic has taught us. I think going forward, We just have no choice but to change our behavior when it comes to innovation and science technologies as well. I'd now like to bring in Honorable Professor Kwabena Frimpong Boateng, who is the Minister for Environment, Science, Technology and Innovation in Ghana. How can governments and other key actors grow the institutional expertise and talents developed by top researchers through the innovations such as the Oliver Reginald Tambo Africa Research Chairs Initiative? And also, how can the governments ensure that they are sustainable?
Thank you, Joy. Thank you, Joy, for the question. Colleague ministers, Ghana is privileged to be part of this initiative. It is our conviction that expertise and talent developed through the initiative will spread and deepen the fact that in our modern world, whose technology is knowledge-based and science and technology-driven, our survival as a continent and our development will depend on our ability to understand, interpret, select, adapt, use, transmit, produce, and commercialize scientific and technological knowledge. Governments can benefit from the institutional expertise and talents developed by top researchers by providing complementary support for researchers through funding and other policy initiatives for research and innovation. Among them are intellectual property rights protection, public-private partnership, and the provision of infrastructure for research, innovation, and commercialization. Ghana is in the process of establishing a national research and development fund, as well as strategic technology facilities that include foundries and machine tooling centers. It is hoped that these initiatives will enable us to design and manufacture tools, equipment, and parts that will translate the outputs of research and innovation into actual products and services. The expected impacts of the researchers' activities will include, as far as we're concerned, the development of human and intellectual capital, including research professors and research students, creation of variable outputs, including knowledge, journal articles, conference papers, books and patents, attraction of critical funding for research, as we are witnessing today, emergence of entrepreneurial spin-offs from research activities that may lead to the creation of businesses, jobs, and wealth. Above all, researchers promote research-based learning and good quality education. In terms of sustainability, the government of Ghana has initiated a policy to place science, technology, and innovation at the center the country's socio-economic development by making STI the fulcrum around which national development revolves. In the recent past, the country has also taken steps to support the establishment of offices for private sector R&D collaborations and technology transfer, some of which are resulting in some entrepreneurial activities of their own. Despite these efforts, the linkages between public research institutions, academia, and the private sector have remained very weak. The transformation of research outputs into economic and social use have been very limited. Similarly, there has been very limited support from the private sector in research, knowledge generation, innovation in technology, and application of same towards business growth and expansion. A lot of progress can be made in matters of sustainability if African countries will collaborate and broaden innovation systems, which are essentially networks of institutions across public and private sectors that interact with each other in order to foster innovation and diffuse new technologies. An important element in this undertaking is the support for publicly funded research and the essential roles of universities in the private sector. It is through such collaborations that African countries, the continent as a whole, will reap the true benefits of science, technology, and innovation. In Ghana, we recognize the urgent need for collaboration among government, public research institutions, and academia, the private sector, to foster knowledge exchange, technology transfer, and transformation of research outputs to commercial products and services. The Ghana Innovation and Research Commercialization Center is a new partnership between government, public research institutions, academia, and the private sector. And in conclusion, let me say that the Ghana Innovation and Research Commercialization Center partners will be active as collaborators to drive and grow research and support the transformation of innovation and research into industry. This is a new way arrangement that we can be sure will facilitate the creation of industries and jobs, grow the economy, and quicken the pace of Ghana's socio-economic development. So Joy, finally, as I said earlier on, Ghana is honored and privileged to be part of the OR Tambo Africa Chairs Initiative. I thank you for your attention.
All right, thank you so much, Honorable Professor Kwabena. And I just want to, get a clarification from you in terms of dealing with those sustainability challenges. If you could briefly, maybe in under a minute, just highlight that. How exactly have you been able to do that?
To be able to sustain this, we need to build on what the OR Tambo initiative is going to be. And that is why we are setting up our national R&D fund so that we can also provide funding for other areas of research as well. And also try to commercialize the output of those research so that it doesn't remain the universities, but can be transitioned into products that can provide jobs and businesses.
All right, thank you so much, Professor Kwabena, who is also the Minister for Environment, Science, Technology, and Innovation in Ghana. I'd now like to come to Professor James Epiphan Mdoe, who is the Deputy Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Education, Science, and Technology in Tanzania. And the question I want to ask you is, what are some of those key opportunities in harnessing science, technology, innovation across the African continent? And just to let you know that Professor James Epiphan Mdoe is representing Honorable Professor Joyce and Dali Chako, who is the Minister for Education, Science and Technology in Tanzania. So just to repeat the question to Professor James Epiphan Mdoe, what are some of the key opportunities in harnessing science, technology, innovation across Africa?
Thank you very much, Program Director. Honorable Ministers, distinguished guests. First of all, let me extend the apologies from Honorable Professor Joyce Lazarandali Chako, the Minister for Education, Science and Technology, who could not attend this program, but she's sending her warm greetings. I'm honored to be part of this historical event of launching the OR Tambo African Research Chairs Initiative with a primary objective of advancing science, technology, and innovation capability in African continent. Fellow members, one of the constant themes of our time is transformative change, with science, technology, and innovation as the driving force for socioeconomic development and human civilization. The first STI revolution we have witnessed in recent years has created a constant state of transformation, restructuring, and repositioning of economies at the global, continental, country, sector, as well as company levels. Trends have shown that a country's competitiveness depends more than ever on the ability to access, adapt, and leverage on STI as a crucial enabler during design and implementation of various national development plans and strategies. And in order for African countries to benefit from the full potential of STI for sustainable socioeconomic development, growth, as stipulated in different continental strategies such as STISA 2024, Regional Indicative Strategy, Strategic Development Plan 2020-2030, and Agenda 2063, I think several unfettered steps must be undertaken. Firstly, there must be a strategic investment in STI to promote innovative solutions to local problems that support sustainable development through establishment of, for instance, a specialized centers of excellence in higher education and TVET institutions. And in view of this, Tanzania has established a number of such centers in different areas of specialization. For instance, we do have 4 African centers of excellence with support from the World Bank, 2 at Sokoine University of Agriculture, and 2 at Nelson Mandela African Institution of Science and Technology. Even the chairs are coming from those 2 institutions at the centers. But we do also have 1 cardiovascular center for excellence at Muhimbili University of Health and Allied Sciences. We have 2 ICT centers for excellence, 1 at Nelson Mandela, another one at Nelson Mandela Institution of Science and Technology, and another one at the so-called Dar es Salaam Institute of Science and Technology. And some are in the pipeline. In our view, through such centers of excellence, scarce resources can be pooled and utilized effectively. But also, another area we think that linkages must be strengthened between innovative outputs from higher learning institutions, research and development institutions, policy formulation, so as to ensure that research-based solutions target the right areas and thereby foster broader development and better living conditions for everyone. But thirdly, we need to nurture and promote the fast-growing African innovation ecosystem to unleash the talents found in our youth for socio-economic development. Again, we need to set mechanisms of a successful implementation of the good regional, continental, and global STI frameworks and strategies at national and regional levels through increased networking. So we need to strengthen that. Honorable ministers and invited guests, it's very difficult to achieve what I've just said, but in our opinion, we think that in order to be able to do what I've suggested is that we need to first, consider encouraging the allocation of 1% of the GDP for research and development, so that African maximizes on the ownership and responsibility for own development path. But also, African countries are urged to streamline funding for STI and entrepreneurship in the national development strategies. I just heard the past panelists talking about establishing a fund for this. So we encourage that. I think that's the only way forward. And also, we need to urgently set probably an African STI fund. We need to have, each country can set its own, but if we have an African STI fund as a Pan-African financial instrument, that could be of much help. And such fund may require finance and funding from a wide variety of sources, but that is, it is possible. If there is a will, there is a way always. Right. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for those remarks. You talked about linkages and policy formulation that goes in tandem with some of the plans, and also unleashing talent in our young people. I think that's very critical as well in ensuring innovation excellence across the African continent. Allocation of 1% of the GDP or budget to research. I think that really needs to be a conversation we need to have across Africa, because if we're going to look at the allocation to some of the critical sectors on the African continent, we're going to really have a long conversation about that. I'd now like to bring Honorable Engineer Dr. Brian Mushimba, the Minister for Higher Education in Zambia, to also give us his perspective. Where do priorities lie for governments in supporting high quality research? And what are some of the further ways to strengthen collaboration among African countries? Because for sure, we cannot do without partnerships and collaboration.
Thank you, Joy. And I'm very thankful that I was invited to speak on this panel. I recognize.
Honorable, we cannot see your video. We're seeing your names, but we're, great.
Oh, I turned it off to optimize my my connectivity.
Your data.
Yes. Speaking as an engineer, trying to be economical on the use of the technology. But I was saying, I recognize the ministers that have spoken before me and the representative of the minister from Tanzania. In terms of priorities, I would think priorities around agriculture, in Africa, we need to research around that. Obviously, agriculture speaks to food security. And as you are aware, we are changing climate patterns now. There are strange diseases affecting both humans and animals. So if we're going to ensure food security, we need certainly to make sure that there is targeted research and priorities put around agriculture.
Okay. Honorable, just before you go ahead, I would like to request that you switch to English or click the English option on your interpretation icon so we are able to hear you clearly. Can you see the icon on your right, extreme right?
On my
it says interpretation? Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, if you click it, you'll see 3 options and you can tap the English option.
Okay. How about that?
Much better. So you were talking about priorities around agriculture.
Yes.
You want to take it on from there?
Yes, and the other priority would be around health. Certainly, again, both the health of humans and health of other cohabitants of the planet. We need to make sure that research there is also prioritized, because if we don't invest in that, we're going to have pandemics such as the COVID-19 and that we're battling with across the world. Other priorities would be around renewable energy. The world is moving away from fossil fuels into green technology, solar, wind, and other renewables. I think we need to prioritize these areas of research. If we do this, I think we are guaranteeing sustainability of the planet as we know it. We are guaranteeing the health of us that inhabit the continent, and we're also guaranteeing that the health of the humans is going to be secured. In terms of strengthening collaboration, certainly I think this platform that we're speaking to is one area of collaboration. We have several ministers from different countries together on a platform like this. Already we are collaborating. So we need more of this so that at a bilateral level or multilateral level, governments across the continent are able to, speak together and leverage on their strengths and put resources together to make sure that such collaboration do indeed take place. And that would be very, very forward-looking. That's part of the reason I wanted to participate here, is just to amplify that collaboration across the continent have to be championed and have to be spoken to, so that we use these platforms to speak to the priorities and the strategic research that we need across the continent.
All right, great. And would it help to have integrated plans across African countries to enable this collaboration move on smoothly?
Yeah, certainly. And I think the minister from Ghana spoke to this, that individual countries can have individual plans, but sometimes you're just as good as a continent when these plans can have an overarching objective and overarching plan that you can speak to, so that then guides how individually we act and how collectively we act. And we're going to get far if we have such plans in terms of collaboration. I totally agree.
All right. Thank you so much, Honorable Minister. And I can see some comments here. Bernard, who is from okay, I do not see the country he's from, but he's talking about such initiatives are what Africa needs to move forward. Thanks for willing to do something positive for Africa through your different initiatives at the foundation. Long live the legacy of Oliver Reginald Tambo. Well, honorable ministers, thank you so much for your informed views and for expounding more on what your respective countries are doing to advance efforts in research. Let's not forget that Pan-African support is just as essential to achieving and innovation excellence on the continent. And speaking of support, let's hear from other African countries on the role to be played. And I'd like to welcome the Honorable Dr. Douglas Lecholatebe, who is the Minister for Tertiary Education, Research, Science and Technology from Botswana, to share his message of support. Honorable, I would like for you to choose the option of Portuguese, if that's possible. You could go to your right and then you can choose the option of Portuguese. So we're able to, yeah. Go ahead, please.
Thank you. My name is Minister of Education, Science and Technology of the Republic of South Africa.
Okay, Honorable, sorry about that.
Sorry, Doctor, can I interrupt
Sorry,
you
Doctor.
there? Sorry, a bit of a technical glitch. We seem to be having a problem with your sound. If you can just switch back to English, can you just can you mute yourself, switch back to English, mute yourself, and then go back, please?
Yeah. Yes, back to English.
Thank you, Madam Facilitator. Sorry about that. My name is Minister of Education, Science and Technology of South Africa. Ministers of sister countries, representatives, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I come to Botswana and where might be having you.
Honorable Doctor, I think we're having a problem with your sound. I don't know what it is, but it's kind of making it sound electric. So your voice is sounding very electronic and we can barely hear what you're saying. So I'm going to ask that someone tries to help you fix the sound as we, and as we do that, I would like to bring on a minister from Uganda, I believe, Minister from Uganda, as we try to sort out Honorable Dr. Douglas Lecholatebe's sound. I'd like to apologize for that, but let's try to just take a few moments and fix that sound. I'd now like to bring on Dr. or Honorable Dr. Elioda Tumwesije, who is the Minister for Science, Technology and Innovation in Uganda, to give us his remarks as well. Honorable Minister, you're welcome.
Muting.
You can unmute your sound and also stop the, you can actually also open up your video. Honorable Minister, we can only see half of your face and we are not seeing the rest of your face. So we would like to request that you move your device, tilt your device forward.
Can you now see?
Tilt it forward again. Yes, that's much better. Go ahead, Honorable Minister.
Okay, thanks a lot, Facilitator. The Honorable Minister of Higher Education, Science and Innovation, Republic of South Africa. Honorable Ministers from various countries.
Okay, Honorable Minister, I'm coming back to you once again, and apologies for interrupting you. But could you kindly select a language on your right? There is an icon on your right, on your extreme right. There's something written interpretation. If you tap it, you can be able to select English as a language.
Well, it's already selected. Yeah.
It's selected, right?
Yeah.
Okay, great. I think you can go ahead now.
Sure. So, honorable ministers and the Oliver and Adelaide Tambo Foundation, the National Research Foundation of South Africa, the Canada International Development Research Center, the participating science granting councils, the 10 research chairs, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to bring you warm greetings from Uganda, East Africa, where I'm the Minister for Science, Technology and Innovation, and also bring you greetings from the Specialized Technical Committee on Education, Science and Technology of the African Union, where I also happen to be chairing since December last year, and wish to state that on behalf of the Ministry of Science, Technology and Innovation of Uganda, I would like to first of all thank the Minister of Higher Education, Science and Innovation of South Africa for inviting me to be part of this forum. I hail the good relationship between South Africa and Uganda.
Honorable Minister, we cannot hear you. And for some reason, there's something that in one of your options, if you have you selected English, Honorable Minister?
I've selected English.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because on our end, I think it's showing that he's not selected a language, and that's why we are unable to hear you. So on the options, there's off, there's English, there's French, there's Portuguese. And so if you select English, is that okay?
Yeah. I've selected
Okay.
English.
Yes, we can now hear you. We can now hear you. Go ahead now. Sorry about that.
No problem. Can you hear me very well now?
Yes, we can hear you very well. Loud and clear.
So I started off again. Our Honorable Minister of Higher Education, Science and Innovation, South Africa, Honorable colleague ministers, staff and management of the Oliver Tambo Foundation, staff of the Canadian International Development Research Center, the staff and management of National Research Foundation, and all of your colleagues, including the 10 research chairs, ladies and gentlemen. As I said earlier, I want to bring you warm greetings from Uganda. I also want to bring warm greetings from the African Union, where I chair the Specialized Technical Committee on Education, Science and Technology, which brings together ministers of education and ministers of science and technology on the African continent, and also which is spearheading the African Education, Science and Technology Fund that many members were talking about. From the side of Uganda, and on behalf of the Ministry of Science, Technology,
Honorable Minister, we've lost you. Did you mute your sound, Minister? Honorable Minister, we can't hear you. No.
Problem. Sorry.
Yeah. Your sound is muted, Honorable Minister. Just unmute your sound kindly. It's muted. It's muted. Unmute it. Unmute the sound kindly. On your extreme left, there is a microphone and a video icon. Kindly tap the microphone icon because it is mute from our end. We can see that, yes. Can you say something now? Okay. Say something, Honorable Minister. He's muted. Could you kindly help him unmute? Okay, Honorable Minister. All right. I think as we try to sort that out, I'm hoping that we could try to sort that out in just a short while, but let me just go through some of the comments, maybe one or two from the chat room and see what some of you are saying. Ani Sikanwe, you're saying, I'm very delighted that such an opportunity has come, especially in the African continent. Dr. Mushimba, I'm sure in our country set up, this is an upgrade from the existing science and technology scholarship under the Ministry for Higher Education. It's my hope that more females will take up this opportunity, absolutely. And I'm also seeing Ann Weston, who is saying many thanks to the speakers for their remarks and leadership in their countries and across the continent. We are pleased to have the opportunity to collaborate with you and your teams and look forward to hearing more about the results of your research over the years to come. Yeah, those are some of the views that are coming through there. But would like to see if we can now reconnect to Honorable Dr. Douglas as we allow for time to sort out this sound issue that we're having. I think there was a bit of an issue with the sound, but Honorable Dr. Douglas would now like to have you back. Hopefully we have sorted out that issue. Could you just say something so we're sure that, you know?
Thank you very much.
Ooh, okay, all right. All right, the sound is still a little bit fuzzy, but we're going to work with that. Probably we'll see if we can get through to, if we can hear what you're saying right now, but yeah, please go ahead. No. The sound is not that good. It's not that good at all. Let's try again. Okay, you could say something, No, it's not okay, but let's see. We're trying to change your device. I hope we can have time for you to change your device. But in the meantime, let's see if we can reconnect to Dr. Elioda Tumwesuje from Uganda and see if we are able to connect to him once again. Honorable Minister, if you're there, would like to, and if you can hear me, Honorable Minister from Uganda, would like to see if your sound has been sorted out. Could you say something? Okay, we do apologize for that technical hitch that we're experiencing. And we can also see that the Honorable Minister from Mozambique sound is not very clear. But let me read some of the comments. Betty Mubangizi, you're saying, please consider the fact that while scientific and technological knowledge from science and engineering will help Africa's development, the role of social, political, and management studies should be equally acknowledged, supported, and funded as well. And I'm also seeing Giles Paradis, who is saying, how can the Tambo chairs promote the training of future generations of researchers, leaders, and develop national capacities to produce evidence-based policies and programs? That's a very good question. So I think what we're going to do now is just try to see if we can, in addition to hearing from the honorable ministers from these countries, we could probably now move on to the next item on the agenda. And if you'd allow me to, I would like for us to move on to our next item. And I'm just going to kindly invite Dr. Jean Lebel, who is the president of the International Development Research Center, one of the partners of this initiative, to share more on the science and development partnerships that are existent in Africa. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Dr. Jean Lebel from IDRC.
Good day, Joy. I'm just checking, having joined late because of other duty. If you hear me well, if you see me well,
I can hear you.
Perfect. And let me say hello to everyone on the Zoom call. My apologies for joining late. I had other commitment this morning, but I absolutely wanted to be here for the launch of the Oliver R. Tambo Chair, Africa Research Chair. And Africa is the...
Dr. Jean, I think we can't hear you. Once again, I'm going to request that you go to your right button on your Zoom application. There's an icon there written interpretation. Can you see it?
Right button. Yeah. And
right. Interpretation. If you click it, there's an option there for English.
Yes.
Tap it and we're good to go.
We're good to go?
Yes.
Good.
Perfect.
So my apologies for joining late. I am thrilled to be with you for the launch of the Oliver Tambo Research Africa Research Chair initiative. And Africa is important over here because, you know, this is at the heart of the mandate of my institution, the International Development Research Center. I have an initiative built in Africa, led by African, for African, in order to find answer to problems that are anchored in the reality of Africa. So that's my introduction. But before I go anywhere further, Joy, thank you very much for the invitation. I don't know if Minister Nzimade is still with us, as well as all the ministers that are present from the Sub-Saharan Africa region. Please receive my warmest regards and my thanks for the leadership that you are all showing in this time of pandemics, but also in this time where research is needed more than ever. And although I'm virtually here in Ottawa, do believe that my heart is with you wherever you are in Africa, a continent I cherish, and where I spend numbers of years in my career at IDRC. IDRC, as you know, is celebrating 50 years this year of existence. It was a stroke of genius in 1970. I strongly believe in 2020. It has remained true to its mandate and will pursue its mandate of developing the local innovation, the local research, and the local solution that leads to solutions that are lasting to face the problem that each of you in your particular country are facing. And the pandemic situation demonstrates that collaboration in science has value. What a better way to show this collaboration by having the Oliver and Adelaide Tambo Foundation, the National Research Foundation, and my very good friend Malopo, that I'm just sending a little sign of friendship here, as well as the South Africa Department of Science and Innovation, working together towards the launch of this initiative and providing real support from each of our part for making this happen. And I wouldn't be true by saying also the love story that there is between South Africa and IDRC back to the years of the fight for freedom. Like Oliver Tambo has been one of the most proeminent the years that he was leading the ANC. And that although he passed away way too young, his legacy is with us today. And his legacy is a legacy of collaboration and of friendship. I think that you have had your early conversation. We have research chair that are world-class, that are bringing their experience on pressing challenges to be resolved, but they are also there to train the next generation of researchers. I think these research chairs are well-timed. They give the opportunity to write the history that is going in front of us at the time of this pandemic. More there than ever, there is a need to have strong capacity for strong capacity and resource for research and innovation in every region of the world, and particularly in Africa. We have long-standing work with Africa at IDRC, but you all have a far deeper understanding that we may have of the needs. And this initiative reflects on the legacy of Mr. Tambo, who believe, as I mentioned earlier, deeply in the capacity of university and research to create positive change in the value of cooperation, as I was mentioning, and solidarity among African nations. I think that the partners here also have a track record of collaboration on other initiatives. I take, for example, the Science Granting Council initiative in Sub-Saharan Africa and the rapid response mechanism that we have set with NRF and others to respond to the COVID-19. The backbone of this initiative is this collaboration between granting agencies and others that build on the experience of the partners, and that gives the opportunity of chairs to strengthen and catalyze the national research system. At the SGCI over the years, what we have seen is that national research priorities and development objectives can be supported, strengthened locally through good collaboration between the country. And the strengthening that we did at SGCI, that you did, many of you, in strengthening the Science Granting Council, has led to evidence-based policy that contribute to economic and social development. I'm told last year, for example, the special advisor to the Ghana Minister of Environment, Science and Technology and Innovation spoke about how Ghana participation in the SGCI has helped transform its approach to science, technology, and innovation. And for ourselves, by working directly with National Granting Council and linking to Pan-African development priorities, the research chairs and the partners supporting this initiative are really furthering OR Tambo's effort to foster Pan-African collaboration and build long-lasting change through research. Now, if we're looking ahead to the Tambo chair, and I like to look ahead, it's good to launch, but it's good to think also of what will be changed. We see this as a really catalyst for supporting top researcher to lead multidisciplinary team and train the next generation of researcher, parts of what you were discussing, and especially women. I think that's quite important. Men and women also, everyone to be participating in this journey. They span critical topic, as you have seen, heard, that touch the heart of IDRC programming, whether it's climate change, food security, public health. So what I'm really carrying as closing here is that IDRC stand with you in Africa as you are exercising the leadership that is deeply needed from you. The local national leadership of African country, the collaboration that often is more difficult in our own country than it is for you, because for you the problems are so urgent sometimes that they don't have to deal with all kind of administrative issue. They go to the heart of the matter, as GCI, as I was mentioning, is an illustration. Whether you are a research chair, whether you are a panelist today, whether you are a partner or an audience member, I think that our collective presence and our collective belief that those Africa Research Chair brings value for African by African is a signal that speak in spade of the significant and sustainable positive change that research has done, is doing, and will be doing. And for that joy, I want to thank every participant, and I want to thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak, and I hope that I did not overrun my time. Have a fantastic day. I'll stay for a few minutes with you. Thank you.
All right, great. Thank you so much, Dr. Jean Lebel. And the challenge to us all, whether you're a research chair or a panelist, partner, attendee, or participant, I think one thing we can all agree on is that we all need to support the research landscape as we foster Pan-African collaboration. Just like Dr. Blade Nzimande said in his remarks, building strong bonds of solidarity with other nations is imperative, just like OR Tambo advocated for, and also partnership-based approaches to complement successful building of institutions around the African continent is very, very imperative. Thank you so much once again, Dr. Jean Lebel, for those powerful remarks as well. Now, I would like to get back to our honorable ministers from around the African continent, just to reconnect to them and see if we can now get through and hear from them on the messages of support. And I would now like to invite Dr. Nilsa Mekidad, who is the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Science and Technology, Higher and Technical Vocational Education in Mozambique, who is representing Honorable Gabriel Ismail Sulimo, the Minister for Science and Technology, Higher and Technical Vocational Education. Just a reminder to turn on your interpretation in case you do not understand the language, choose the option of Portuguese. Welcome, Dr. Nilsa Mekidad. Dr. Nilsa, are you there? Oh, yes. Go ahead, Doctor. Dr. Nilsa, it's good to see you.
It's not
Okay, all right. I guess technical problems, technical hitches are just part of virtual events, and so kindly bear with us as we try to make this work. As we get that done, could we kindly reconnect to a minister in Uganda, Honorable Elioda. Can we reconnect to you if you can hear me, Honorable? Honorable Dr. Elioda, can you hear me now? Kindly unmute. Yes.
I'm hearing you.
Okay, please go ahead. Go ahead as we try to sort out the connection with the Honorable Minister in Mozambique. You can go ahead now, Honorable Minister. Hopefully you will be as brief as can be.
Minister of Higher Education, Science and Innovation, Republic of South Africa, honorable ministers, dear colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the Ministry of Science, Technology and Innovation of the Republic of Uganda, allow me to first of all thank the National Research Foundation of South Africa for organizing this forum, and also thank the Minister of South Africa for inviting me to participate in this forum, which provides for ministers responsible for science and innovation, scientists, academicians, and policymakers from across Africa to come together and share experiences and ideas on how Africa can successfully confront some of the most socioeconomic challenges facing our people. It should be known that Africa, of course, now about 1.3 billion, will be about 2.5 billion by 2050, and 1 in 4 people on this planet will be in Africa. And this presents huge challenges, including challenges to do with food security and others. This forum provides an important forum upon which we can showcase the contribution of science, technology, and research in responding to Africa's new and emerging challenges. The forum was also organized at a time when I also happened to be the chair of the Specialized Technical Committee on Education, Science, and Technology of the African Union, which is currently spearheading the need to revitalize research and innovation on the African continent. And to implement that, of course, we are working on establishing the Africa Education, Science, and Technology Fund.
Okay, Honorable Minister, I'm coming to you once again. Is your English option turned on?
Actually, I don't see where that is on this gadget.
Which device are you using?
As an iPad.
Oh, it's an iPad. Great. On the right, there is, or where there is the interpretation option, you could just tap the English option right there.
I don't see the interpretation option here.
Right. It must be somewhere.
Wow, there's only.
That's okay. That's okay.
Okay, I've seen.
Yes, great, perfect. Go ahead.
So, I'm also to take this opportunity to pay special tribute to Oliver Tambo. His vision. Can you hear me very well now? Are you hearing me? Hello?
Yes, we can hear you, Minister. Please go ahead.
Okay. No, I don't want to speak when nobody's listening. So again, of course, again, I want to bring greetings from Uganda and also from the AU. Allow me to pay special tribute today to Oliver Tambo. His vision and foresight have ensured that we can all gather here today to launch this milestone in Africa's transformation. The Oliver Tambo Africa Research Chairs Initiative is in line with the vision of our founding fathers, notably President Kwame Nkrumah. President Kwame Nkrumah was quoted in the first speech at the Foundation Summit of the Organization of African Unity in Addis Ababa on 24th of May, 1963. Like this, he said that we shall accumulate machinery and establish steelworks, iron foundries and factories. We shall link the various states of our continent with our communications. We shall astound the world with our hydroelectric power We shall drain marshes and swamps, clear infested areas, feed the undernourished, and rid our people of parasites and disease. Kwame Nkrumah also added that it is within the possibility of science and technology to make even the Sahara Desert bloom into a vast field with verdant vegetation for agriculture and industrial developments. End of quote. So today's launch, where we are witnessing 10 researchers coming together to confront and look for solutions, Africa's challenges, should serve as a catalyst in the long process of not only achieving Kwame Nkrumah's vision, but also the vision of Oliver Tambo. It's no secret that Africa is indeed endowed with natural resources and raw talent. However, for a long time, the challenges facing the African continent have been on the rise. Poverty, climate change, and youth unemployment continue to limit the potential of many countries. Nevertheless, over the past 20 years, we have witnessed resurgence and reawakening of Africa in all spheres of science, technology, and innovation, from human capital development to infrastructure development. Africa is swiftly emerging as a force to reckon with over the coming years. The initiative we are launching today is a timely one, since it provides a unique opportunity to build on continent-wide collaboration and co-investment through the Science Granting Council's initiative in Sub-Saharan Africa. In Uganda, we on the continuous look out for such opportunities that increase our investments in research through collaboration. Through this initiative, we can expect that the human and institutional capacity that is built across the different countries will provide a firm base for which other similar initiatives can be built. It's my sincere hope that the Oliver Tambo Africa Researchers Initiative will transform the universities and national systems. I expect that this initiative will not only expand the research and innovation capacities in all our countries, but it will be a much needed vehicle to retain excellent researchers and scientists within our higher education systems. More importantly, I'm confident that this initiative will honor the legacy of O.R. Tambo, whose unwavering vision for freedom, social justice, and equality for all is heavily underlined in the ideals of this initiative. To the 10 research chairs, I would like to extend my congratulations, including one from Uganda, who is focusing on food security. The task you have ahead of you is both a difficult one and an honorable one. As I said earlier, Africa, now about 1.3 billion people, will be about 2.5 billion people by 2050. Nearly 1 in 4 people on the planet will be in Africa. And therefore, what we are doing now should be able to address the challenges of today, but also prepare us for tomorrow. This endorsement means that the solutions, products, and processes you can develop under this initiative will contribute and transform regional and national science systems, build and complement the human capital development profile, and ultimately enhance the resilience of our people in a rapidly changing global environment. The work that we undertake should reflect the values of Oliver Tambo. He stood for integrity, selflessness, and collective and servant leadership. We should honor him for that. On behalf of the government of Uganda, and indeed on behalf of the ministers responsible for education, science, technology, and innovation on the African continent, we promise to provide all the necessary support to this initiative and its implementation over the next 5 years. We are confident that the research chairs modality will become one of the main pathways for coordinated engagement between all our countries for many years to come. Lastly, Uganda is present, is profitable, and welcoming.
I want to welcome all of you to Uganda, to visit Uganda one of these days, as and when the COVID epidemic goes down. And I want to thank you once again for the opportunity to participate in this forum. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Ilioda Tumwesije, who is the Minister for Science, Technology and Innovation in Uganda, for those remarks. And I would now like for us to head back to Botswana virtually so we can see if Dr. Douglas Letsholatebe, Minister for Tertiary Education, Research, Science and Technology, is now ready. And we can try to reconnect to him as well. Honorable Minister, are you there now? And
Thank you, Madam Facilitator. I'm there. I'm ready.
Great. Loud and clear. Have you selected the English option on your?
Yes, I've selected English.
Fantastic. Go ahead, Honorable Minister.
Okay, thank you very much, Honorable Dr. Blayden Nzimande, Minister of Higher Education, Science and Technology, Republic of South Africa, honorable ministers from sister countries, your representatives, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. On behalf of my country, Botswana, and on my behalf, I hereby express heartfelt appreciation to the government of the Republic of South Africa through the Department of Science and Innovation and its funding agency, the National Research Foundation, and in collaboration with the Oliver and Adelaide Tambo Foundation for this profound initiative and the invitation. Although the initiative may have started a year ago, its implementation comes at a very critical time in the development of the country and globally in the advent of the COVID-19 pandemic. Madam Director of Ceremonies, Botswana as a country promotes and supports research because we are cognizant of the fact that a knowledgeable society is a self-reliant and self-sufficient and prosperous society. The debates of the last parliamentary session stressed the importance of increasing funding for research, science and technology. Since Parliament approved the National Research, Science and Technology and Innovation Policy in 2012 to bring into line the current developments, we have started its review through the technical assistance from the United Nations Conference on Trade and Development. These efforts that we are making as a country are aimed at refocusing on our research and development agenda in the interest of achieving Botswana's national aspiration of achieving a knowledge-based society. Madam Director of Ceremonies, allow me at this stage to extend my profound gratitude for this initiative and awardees across the African continent, and more especially for my own Professor Tsedu and his team from the Botswana International University of Science and Technology, BUST. I do believe you know how proud we are of you and your institution, and we pledge to continue to support you in every way we can. The research proposed and led by Professor Tsedu is aligned with the National Development Plan of Botswana, which runs from 2017 to 2023, the National Development Plan 11, and its Vision 2036, which clearly postulates and the importance of sustainable environment and development planning. Ladies and gentlemen, I also browsed through the summaries of other proposed researchers and realized that we have brilliant minds in our midst. And as a continent, if we keep it up, we are all on our way to a sustained development. However, without much of our support, all this brilliantly articulated research output cannot be achieved. Therefore, I urge my colleagues, donors, and societies at large to rally behind our researchers, for we are all striving towards the same goal of every African person and every African country to be knowledgeable, self-reliant, self-sufficient, that is, towards the Africa we want. Once more, Madam Director, may I congratulate the research chairs and thank you once more to the Republic of South Africa and the Oliver and Adelaide Tambo Foundation. I thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much, Honorable Dr. Douglas Letshula-Tebe, who is the Minister for Tertiary Education, Research, Science and Technology in Botswana, and would now like to cross over to Mozambique once again and see if we can reconnect to Dr. Nilsa Mikidad, who is the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Science and Technology, Higher and Technical Vocational Education. Minister, I beg your pardon, Permanent Secretary Dr. Nilsa Mikidad, if you can hear me, I hope that you selected the option of Portuguese.
Muito boa tarde.
Please go ahead.
Muito boa tarde. Sim, muito
Yes.
boa tarde. Boa tarde. Ok.
We can hear you. Please go ahead.
Ok. Muito obrigado e a todas. Eu falo em representação de Sua Excelência, o Ministro da Ciência e Tecnologia, Ensino Superior e Técnico Profissional. Sou o Inspetor-Geral do Ministério. Em princípio, conforme tiveram a oportunidade de anunciar antes, devia estar aqui a senhora Nilsa Mikidad, que é a secretária permanente do Ministério, mas por razões de força maior, ela não pode participar deste evento. Sua Excelência, Ministro do Ensino Superior, Ciência e Tecnologia da África do Sul, Dr. Vlad Zimande, Suas Excelências, Ministros da Ciência e Tecnologia, Ensino Superior e Investigação, presentes neste evento, prezado presidente do IDRC, Centro de Investigação e Desenvolvimento Internacional, prezado CEO da Fundação Oliver e Adelaide Tambo, prezado CEO da NRF, todo o protocolo observado do Ministério da Ciência e Tecnologia, Ensino Superior e Técnico Profissional de Moçambique, em nome de Sua Excelência o Ministro, os nossos de oportunidade de participar como um dos países implementadores das cátedras de investigação OR Tambo. Se, por um lado, os recursos financeiros são essenciais para a realização de quaisquer ações, por outro lado, a partilha e o uso do conhecimento e experiências permitirá uma jornada mais eficaz rumo ao alcance dos objetivos e sucesso de implementação das cátedras de investigação selecionadas para os próximos 5 anos. Gostaria de aproveitar esta ocasião para reiterar o comprometimento do governo de Moçambique no apoio e acompanhamento do processo de implementação da cátedra selecionado, pois estamos cientes que o seu sucesso impulsionará o desenvolvimento da pesquisa, das infraestruturas de pesquisa, formação de cientistas e aumento da qualidade da pesquisa. Dos nossos agradecimentos se estendem aos que refiro-me ao National Research Foundation, em coordenação com o Departamento de Ciência e Tecnologia, ao Oliver e Adelaide Tambo Foundation e o Centro Internacional de Pesquisa para o Desenvolvimento do Canadá e os Conselhos de Financiamento da Ciência. Os Conselhos de Financiamento da Ciência. O Fundo Nacional de Investigação de Moçambique, na qualidade de membro do SGCI, tem se empenhado grandemente na dinamização da pesquisa no país, assim como na região, e é por isso que o Ministério da Ciência e Tecnologia, Ensino Superior e Técnico Profissional de Moçambique tem vindo a acarinhar estas iniciativas que são desenvolvidas nos nossos SGCI como coletivo de gestão da pesquisa. Para terminar, gostaria mais uma vez, em nome do técnico profissional de Moçambique, movimento de engrandecer Adelaide Tambo, que, como todos sabem, este é também filho de Moçambique. Portanto, por último, gostaríamos de encorajar a estas iniciativas que têm em vista o fomento da investigação, o fomento da produção do conhecimento nos países de África e em todo o mundo. Muito obrigado pela atenção dispensada.
Thank you so much, Dr. Nelsa Mikidad, who is the Permanent Secretary, Ministry for Science and Technology, Higher and Technical Vocational Education in Mozambique. Quite some very profound remarks there in regard to supporting these initiatives. And I believe we've now come to close to the end, but I would like to challenge us all, whether we came in as participants wanting to learn or are coming from an informed expertise point of view, that we all need to foster Pan-African collaboration and build strong, lasting change through research. Congratulations to all the inaugural chairs of the Oliver and Adelaide Tambo Foundations, OR Tambo, Africa Chairs Initiative. All right, I'm starting to sound like I'm speaking in slow motion, but congratulations to all of you, the chairs. We really do wish you the best, and we hope that this input that you are going to have in your research and different developmental projects will really and surely have an impact on Africa's science, technology, and innovation progress, And we hope that with this support that we are getting from the different African countries, we're going to be able to build integrated, strong science and innovation programs, not just in our respective countries, but across the African continent. So thank you to all of you. And I would like to say a big thank you to the honorable ministers for staying on throughout this session, for being patient, and we do apologize for all the technical hitches due to some of the sound and interruptions regarding the interpretation right there. And we also like to thank all the representatives of ministers and the officials, and to you all the distinguished guests who made time to take part in this virtual event. Thank you for making time and for contributing through the chat room or the chat box. Just going through all the so many comments being made from the different African countries, I can already tell that we are all psyched up. I hope I'm not using a word that is youthful or a little too youthful, but I hope that we are all excited and geared up to move this forward. I would also like to thank the Oliver and Adelaide Tambo Foundation, the International Development Research Center, IDRC, and South Africa's Department of Science and Innovation, as well as the National Research Foundation for putting this together. I've been your program director or your moderator for the day. My name is Joy Doreen Bira. Happy birthday to Oliver Reginald Tambo. Continue to rest in power, and God bless you all.